Welcome to another AI pattern recognition deep dive.
Every major discovery, every pivot in business, even those personal aha moments, they often start with a deceptively simple why or what if that just completely upends our assumptions.
Absolutely. It's fundamental to progress, isn't it?
Totally. And today we're plunging into a concept that places this exact idea right at the heart of artificial intelligence. It's called Right Questions AI, or RQA for short.
RQA.
Yeah. We've spent time with a pretty comprehensive report on this framework. Its technical foundations, some really groundbreaking applications, and importantly, the vital ethical stuff too.
Which is crucial.
Definitely. So our mission for this deep dive is to really unpack RQA, understand how AI could shift from just being an answer engine to more of a Socratic partner.
A partner in inquiry.
Exactly. And explore what this shift could mean for how you, listening right now, learn, work, maybe even how you stay healthy.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, for so long, AI has really been positioned as answer engine. We feed it data, it gives us classifications, predictions, translations.
Nice transaction.
Precisely. What's fascinating here, what this report outlines, is this radical proposal to flip that script entirely.
Yeah.
It's not about the AI having the solution, but about using AI to help us formulate the critical questions. That's a huge shift.
Okay, let's unpack that core idea then. RQA isn't about the AI just spouting facts or answers. It's designed to be a synergistic partner in formulating genuinely incisive questions.
Yeah.
Imagine an AI, its main goal isn't giving you the fish, but helping you ask for the right bait. Maybe even questioning why you think you need that specific bait in the first place.
Kind of guiding your curiosity.
Right. Instead of just telling us what to do, RQA zeroes in on knowledge gaps, maybe spots logical inconsistencies in the data, or points out these little nascent opportunities for deeper insight that we might miss.
So the output is different.
Exactly. Its primary output isn't a statement. It's a strategically formulated question. A question designed to nudge you towards self-discovery, towards critical thinking, and ultimately, a much deeper understanding.
And it's important to stress this isn't just like science fiction. The report makes it clear this is an achievable technological paradigm. It builds on techniques already advancing rapidly.
Like what specifically?
Well, it draws heavily from really sophisticated pattern recognition, predictive analytics, real-time adaptive learning, and, crucially, explainable AI, XAI.
XAI. Okay.
So the real challenge isn't so much if an AI can generate a question. We can make generative models do that now. The question is, what does it take for an AI to truly understand enough context to ask a genuinely good, a meaningful question? That's the hurdle.
That's the crux, isn't it?
Yeah.
So let's dive into those technical bits, starting with what the report calls the engine of insight. This is how RQA sees the world, basically. Recognizing patterns, making predictions.
Right. And pattern recognition here isn't just simple matching. We're talking about identifying complex regularities, structures, even in really messy, ambiguous, real-world data.
Okay, so give us an example, like statistical techniques.
Sure. Take something like hidden Markov models, HMMs. An RQA could use these not just for, say, speech recognition, but maybe to model your unobservable knowledge state while you're learning something.
My knowledge state, like if
Yeah.
I'm getting it or just guessing.
Exactly. Based on the sequence of your interactions, your answers, your hesitations maybe. Or think about structural techniques like graph-based algorithms.
Okay.
They could map out your conceptual knowledge, not just listing facts but highlighting maybe isolated concepts, showing a real gap in understanding how things connect.
Ah, so it's seeing the connections or
Yeah.
lack thereof.
Precisely. And then you have neural network approaches. CNN's convolutional neural networks aren't just for images. They could spot subtle, unusual patterns in complex data structures, maybe inconsistencies in research findings or hidden assumptions in a business plan.
Okay, and RNNs, recurrent neural networks.
They're great for sequential data. Think analyzing your physiological signs from a wearable over time, identifying really subtle emerging trends that might indicate a health issue long before it becomes obvious.
Got it. So it's using a whole toolkit.
That's the key point the report makes. RQA isn't a single model. It's described as a dynamic ensemble of specialized models. It intelligently picks the right analytical lens for the job, depending on the data.
Like a Swiss Army knife for pattern detection.
Exactly. That agility, shifting from statistical to structural to neural approaches, lets it uncover those really nuanced patterns we often miss. It's always trying to find the best tool to reveal something unexpected.
Okay, so it recognizes patterns. Then it moves to foresight predictive analytics. But you said it's different from standard prediction.
Right. It uses those recognized patterns to forecast future outcomes, but here's the twist. Instead of just predicting, say, your final grade or whether a machine will break down,
It predicts something else.
it predicts a deviation from an expected or optimal pattern. It tries to forecast a specific point where maybe your learning is about to diverge from real understanding, or where a system is heading towards failure.
A pattern of misunderstanding or potential failure.
Precisely. And that prediction isn't the endpoint. It's the immediate trigger for the AI to formulate and ask a strategic question.
Okay. So the prediction prompts the question.
Exactly. This totally reframes prediction. It's not just about reporting this will happen. It's about identifying that critical inflection point so it can initiate a dialogue, ask a question, aim squarely at changing that forecast for the better.
Making the AI a partner in improving the outcome.
Yes, through inquiry.
Okay, that leads us to the adaptive core.
Mm.
This is how it learns in real time, right? Self-correction.
Two key things here. First, online machine learning. This means the AI updates its models continuously, incrementally, without needing these massive retraining sessions from scratch.
So it stays current.
Yes, and it can adapt to what's called concept drift. That's when the underlying meaning or properties of the data change over time. Think about your own body's baseline changing after an illness, or maybe new terms emerging in a field. RQA needs to keep up.
Makes sense.
And the second part.
Reinforcement learning, or RL. This is absolutely crucial. RL is how RQA learns to act optimally, not just perceive. It learns the right question to ask through trial and error.
How does that work? Trial and error with questions.
Kind of. It interacts with you, asks a question, and gets feedback. Maybe implicitly through your response or explicitly. It gets a sort of reward if the question leads to deeper insight or a positive change, and a penalty if the question is unhelpful or confusing.
So it's learning the art of asking good questions.
Exactly. It's learning the strategy of Socratic dialogue. So online learning keeps its model of the world up to date. That's perception. RL figures out the best action, the best question to ask given that perception, to maximize your long-term understanding or well-being. Okay, I think I get the pieces. So when you put the engine of insight and the adaptive core together,
You get the core operational loop of RQA, perceive, predict, act, where act is always asking a question.
right, perceive the patterns, predict a deviation, act by asking a guiding question. And you mentioned different types of questions.
Yeah, the report gives examples. A Socratic one might challenge an assumption directly, like, you use the area formula for the perimeter of a circle. Can you explain why you chose that one instead of the circumference formula, C2R?
Okay, pushes you to justify.
Right. Or a diagnostic question, probing for root causes. For health, maybe. Your heart rate variability has been consistently 20% lower than baseline each night this week. Have there been any recent changes in your routine, diet, or stress?
Trying to connect the dots.
Or an exploratory one, uncovering maybe overlooked connections or discrepancies, like the data links this team's success strongly with async tools, but their new plan leans heavily on sync meetings. What questions should we be asking about this apparent mismatch?
Interesting. Now, you mentioned explainable AI, XAI being crucial. Why is that so important here?
Well, think about it. If an AI is going to guide your thinking, ask you potentially challenging questions, you need to trust it. You can't just have it coming out of a black box.
Why? You need to know why it's asking that.
Exactly. XAI makes RQA's reasoning transparent. Techniques like LIME or S-shape could literally show a student, look, your errors handling negative exponents. That was the biggest factor predicting you'd struggle on this next part. That's why I'm asking about algebraic rules.
Wow, okay. That's specific.
Or counterfactual explanations. It might say, if your estimate for consumer spending had been 5% lower, matching recent sentiment data, your overall forecast would have been correct. It shows you exactly where the thinking or the data went astray.
So the explanation itself is part of the learning.
Absolutely. XAI here isn't just for developers debugging the AI. It becomes integral to the teaching and learning. When RQA explains why it's asking, it provides metacognitive scaffolding. It helps you understand not just the topic, but the structure of your own knowledge and misconceptions.
That feels like a really profound shift.
It is. It fundamentally shifts the locus of intelligence. The measure of success for RQA isn't how clever the AI is on its own, but how much cleverness, how much curiosity it sparks in the human user.
Okay, let's make this more concrete. How would this look in practice? Let's take personalized education, the Socratic AI tutor.
Right. We already have adaptive learning platforms, things like Mathia or Dreambox.
Yeah, they adjust difficulty and paths.
But RQA goes deeper. Imagine a student, let's say, struggling with multi-step algebra, constantly messing up fractions.
Yep.
The RQA would perceive this, tracking time spent, hints used, specific error types related to fractions. Then it would predict, maybe with 90% probability, that the student will fail the next module because that foundational fraction understanding is weak.
And then the question.
Instead of just giving a hint or the answer, it acts by asking something like, hey, I noticed in the last few problems, steps with fractions took you twice as long and usually led to an error. Can you maybe explain in your own words what it means to find a common denominator?
It targets the specific misunderstanding.
Exactly. And the XAI part. The teacher could maybe see a dashboard highlighting error rate and fractional division as the biggest factor in that predicted struggle. It gives them immediate, targeted insight.
That feels much more diagnostic than current systems.
Okay.
What about health? The proactive wellness advisor.
Similar idea, building on current wearables like Fitbits, Apple Watches, Aura rings that track biosignals.
He already detects some anomalies.
Right, but RQA adds layers of pattern analysis and predictive inquiry. Picture your RQA integrated smartwatch detecting a subtle but persistent pattern over, say, 5 days.
What kind of pattern?
Maybe a slight drop in deep sleep, decreased heart rate variability, HRV, a slightly elevated resting heart rate, and maybe you walked less. Individually, maybe not alarming.
But together.
Together, the RQA predicts this multi-signal pattern correlates, maybe 75% correlation in its dataset, with the onset of a significant viral infection within the next 48 to 72 hours.
Wow. So what does it do? Just send an alert?
It acts with a question. A notification might pop up. Good morning. Noticed your body's readiness score has been trending lower than usual this week. Have you changed your diet or exercise recently, been under extra stress, or maybe felt any early signs of being unwell?
It prompts self-reflection tied to the data.
Precisely. And the XAI. If you share this with your doctor, they might see a clinical dashboard showing the time series graphs, explaining that the sustained drop in HRV was the biggest contributor to the risk score, adding context like, this specific pattern matches the physiological signature of 80% of users in our data 48 hours before they reported flu symptoms.
Okay, that's powerful. It connects the dots over time.
That's the key takeaway here. Our QA moves beyond just reactive alerts. Your heart rate is high. It contextualizes the problem, linking these disparate signals over time, and offers not just insight, but proactive inquiry. It guides you to explore the why.
And you mentioned this architecture is domain agnostic. That perceive, predict, act loop applies elsewhere.
Absolutely. That's the beauty of it. It's essentially an anomaly detector for assumptions wherever you have complex data patterns.
So like in business or social dynamics.
For sure. Imagine an RQA analyzing a company's internal communications, emails, Slack, project docs. It might perceive a pattern, say 75% of the most innovative projects seem to start in spontaneous cross-departmental chats.
Okay, the water cooler effect digitally.
Right. But it also perceives that 80% of those promising projects get abandoned when the communication shifts to formal, siloed departmental channels. It predicts this transition point is a major bottleneck for innovation.
So the question would be,
It acts by asking leadership. What is the critical question we should be asking about our current process for moving ideas from informal collaboration into formal development, given this observed drop-off rate?
it points directly at the systemic issue.
Exactly. And this is where it gets really interesting, because humans often miss these things. Our own cognitive biases, our organizational structures, they create blind spots. We get used to processes and just stop questioning them, even if the data screams inefficiency.
So RQA reveals the questions we didn't even know we should be asking.
Precisely. It forces us to confront those hidden assumptions, those collective blind spots revealed by the patterns in our own data. That's potentially transformative.
It feels like this framework is more than just a tech upgrade then. It's potentially a blueprint for a whole new level of human-computer synergy.
It could catalyze innovation, reshape parts of the economy.
You could imagine, like, curiosity as a service platforms, where you upload complex data scientific results, market research, whatever, and get back this prioritized list of critical questions, hidden assumptions to check, promising hypotheses.
Yeah, Castus, that's a plausible future. And think about the new job roles.
Like what?
Well, you'd need RQA interaction designers, people skilled in crafting these effective Socratic dialogues between humans and the AI.
Making the interaction natural and productive.
Right. And maybe even more importantly, AI ethicists for inquiry systems. Their job wouldn't just be auditing the AI's answers for bias, but auditing the questions it asks.
Auditing the questions. Why?
because the power to guide thought is also the power to subtly manipulate it. We need to ensure an RQA used in, say, criminal justice doesn't learn to disproportionately scrutinize certain demographics based on biased historical data patterns that influence its questions.
Ah, okay. That's a critical ethical consideration.
Absolutely. The report stresses this and proposes a governance framework built on 3 pillars. First, radical transparency. XAI must always be available to explain why a question was asked. No black box guidance.
Okay.
Second, meaningful human control. The user always retains ultimate authority. You decide whether to engage with the question, how to answer it, what to do next. The AI suggests it doesn't command.
Makes sense. And the third,
Continuous bias auditing, specifically looking at the patterns of questions being asked. Are they fair? Are they leading? Are they reinforcing harmful stereotypes? We need guardrails around this power to inquire.
it sounds like engaging with this kind of AI requires a new skill from us, the humans.
Definitely. The report calls it inquiry literacy.
Inquiry literacy.
Yeah, it's the ability to critically evaluate not just the answers we get from AI, which we're learning to do, but the questions we are asked by AI.
Yeah.
Understanding their framing, their assumptions, their potential impact on our own thinking.
It's a really interesting point. It's a whole new layer of critical thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, listening? This right questions AI concept, it feels like a pretty profound potential evolution for AI.
It really is.
It's framing AI not just as a tool or a substitute, but as a genuine catalyst for human intelligence, for our own curiosity.
Yeah, it encourages us to cultivate this new kind of literacy, to engage more deeply with complexity.
The future of AI, then, might really be defined not just by the quality of its answers,
But by the profundity, the insightfulness of its questions, and maybe just as importantly, by our willingness and ability to engage with those questions thoughtfully.
So here's a final thought for you to consider. As you go about your day, maybe in your work, your learning, your life, what's one pattern you've noticed, maybe subconsciously, that you haven't really stopped to question deeply? What question might an RQA ask you about that?
Good question.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Right Questions AI. Keep asking those questions.
Thank you for joining us for this broadcast.
This is DigitView.